Hello, welcome everybody. This is a tutorial for you folks that are going to be doing your calendar layout and design. I'm going to show you how to do it in Photoshop. Okay, there's two templates that you want to start out with. They're both Photoshop documents, and they're located under Course Content. And look down towards the end of the list and look for Calendar Template Vertical PSD and Calendar Template Horizontal PSD. Download both of those to your computer and open them up in Photoshop. Now here's what they're going to look like. This is the horizontal version or the landscape version of the calendar, and this is the portrait version or the vertical version of the calendar. I prefer the vertical version, but it's up to you. Okay, so that's your choice. Do one or the other. I'm going to show you a little bit on how to do both. Now, the vertical calendar, as you see here, actually uses squares. Okay, every one of these little squares is for a day of the week. Okay, so you're going to put your days of the week across the top, starting with Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Those images will go in the first row. And in the second row, you'll start somewhere along there. You'll start with day one. Okay. Now you're going to do a real calendar month and year. Okay. So look up on the internet and find out whatever month you want to do, whether it's in the future, whether it's in the present, or whether it's in the past. Find out what day of the week that particular month and year started on, and make sure it's an accurate calendar. Okay. And then start your number one image in whatever box is necessary. Now, the vertical version, as you see here, uses square images. So you're going to crop all of your images that you shot for your calendar into squares. However, the horizontal version of the calendar, as seen here, actually uses 8 by 10 horizontal images. So that's what you're going to crop your photos in if you're going to use this particular template. Now, first thing you want to do is open up Bridge, and you want to have a folder that contains all of your images that you're going to use for your calendar. Every image that's going to go for a day of the month, and then a day of the week, and your filler images as well. Now, my particular calendar, I've chosen a theme of Liberty football, and I've got a picture that includes the jersey number, and the jersey number is going to correspond to the day. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, blah, 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 all the way up to 30, 31. And then I've got some filler images, and then I'm going to use some other images as the days of the week. Now, you have two choices really here. You can include the number in your photo. It just depends on how you've shot your photos already. And or the second option is to include the number for the day of the month later as text at this point. And I'll show you how to do both. All right. This is my number one image. So I'm going to double click on it, bring it into Photoshop. And in this case, I'm working on my horizontal calendar first. So I'll show you how to crop this into a 8 by 10. So you grab the crop tool, which is over here on the left. And up here at the top, you want to change the ratio from original to 8 by 10. And then you want to change the orientation. So click somewhere in the image and then hit the X key on your keyboard, and it will change the orientation for you. Now I want to zoom in and just include a close-up of the number, because that's what I'm going for on my calendar. I want you to be able to read the numbers in the photos. So I'm going to crop it in real tight like that, and when I'm happy with it, I'm going to say enter, return, and there's my new crop. Now I'm ready to take this image into my template. For that, I need the Move tool. The Move tool is the very top one on the left of your tool palette. Move tool. Click on it. Now, the way you move a photo or anything into a new document is you kind of click, hold, and drag. Okay? So put your cursor somewhere within your image, click on the mouse button and hold it, then drag your mouse up to the template at the top of the page, and now you'll see the Photoshop switch to your template, and then hold and drag, keep holding and drag downwards into the file itself, and then let go. And then you'll have placed your photo. Now obviously it's probably going to be too big. We can resize it. But now you want to bring up the Layers palette. So go up to Window and say Layers. And this will show you the layers that you have in this document. We have 3 so far. Our background, which is white at this point. We got our text layer, which is the day of the month. And then we've got our new photo, which comes in on its own layer. So every time you move a document into another document, it comes over on its own separate layer. Now, what we want to do is resize this thing. The best tool to do that is what's called the Free Transform tool. So you can find it up here under the Edit menu and go down to Free Transform. Or it has a shortcut, Command-Control-T. So that's the shortcut. When you hit it, you'll have these little handles, okay? Now, we want to keep this the same proportion as we resize it. So in order to do that, we just can't go grabbing these handles or it will not keep it proportional. We want to hold the Shift key down on our keyboard as we do this. Okay, so holding the Shift key down and grab one of the corners and shrink it down. Shrink it a little bit smaller than what we need for our grid. Then we're going to move it up to the first box where we need our image number 1, which in this case is the first one on the left. So we're going to move it over there, get it close, zoom in. If you have a scroll wheel, you ought to be just doing this with the scroll wheel. If you don't, you're going to have to go down here into the magnification tool or the zoom tool and zoom in pretty close. You can also move around in your image if you press and hold the space bar. You can reposition everything. Zoom in close. Now you'll see the grid outlines. Okay, place your photo towards a couple of the grid outlines. Now, hold down the Shift button and draw it out. And there's our first image placed. Now we need to press Enter or Return after we're done sizing it. And then our handles will go away. So Photoshop won't let you do anything else until you press Enter or Return and get out of the Free Transform mode. There, now our photo is placed. So we've got photo number 1 in place. Okay, so let's go back to Bridge and get another one. Here's my number 2 photo. Double click on that, bring it into Photoshop, crop tool, and crop in a little tighter on just the numbers. Something like that. Press Enter Return to accept the crop, and then get the Move tool and move this to our template, and Command Control T to Free Transform and resize it, shrink it down, move it into box number 2, zoom in, find a couple corners for it to align with our grid, and shift hold, drag it out. Press enter return. Now if you ever want to go back and fix your other photos, you got to go back to whatever layer it is and highlight that layer. Okay. There's our first two photos. Now, it doesn't look like the 8x10 is working so well as far as being the right format for this. So I'm going to go back, and on my third picture, I think I'm going to change it, and we're going to crop to a different ratio here. We're going to do the original ratio. And that's probably a little bit better crop. So here's our third image, cropped, move it, free transform, shrink it down, place it, this looks more like the right proportion, maybe. And tune the adjustment, hit enter return. All right, there we got photo number 3. So everything sort of just repeats itself. And every time you add in a photo, you add a new layer over here. So this document can be getting pretty big, pretty fast. It may have over 100 layers in it when everything is said and done. Now I'm going to switch over and do the other template here because that's the one I particularly care for better. And I'll start with this one. Let's find image number 4, and we need to change our ratio to square this time because this particular calendar uses squares as its shape of picture. So there's our number 4 photo, cropped. And again, we're going to use the same technique, move tool, bring it into our other template, and then we're going to go Command T, free transform to resize, and there was our 1, 2, 3, 4. Our number 4 image is going to go right there. Zoom in and fine tune the placement. Into return to accept the free transform, and there's our first image. Now let me show you what I was going to do for the days of the week up here. Let me close out some of these other documents here. If you get too many up there, you'll get lost and you won't be able to drag and drop the new files in. All right, I need to get one of my filler images. Let's get this one here, which is the opening of the game, the flamethrower dude that opens all the Liberty games. Again, we need to crop this down into a square. That's good. Now we need to move it over. There we go. Now we need to free transform it. And this is going to be our Sunday image. So it's going to go up here in the top corner. And enter return. There's our Sunday image. Now, since I didn't photograph the actual photo with an S in it or the word Sunday in it, I need to add Sunday as text. Okay, so I'm going to go and grab my text and my type tool, and I'm going to click anywhere on the page, and I'm going to type in the word Sunday. In this case, it's in huge letters. Okay, no worries. Now I want to highlight the whole word Sunday. And then I want to go up and find my palette called Characters, Character Palette, Windows Character. And this will let me resize the type, maybe 12 point or so. I can choose the font. I can choose to make it bold or whatever. Let's make it bold. I can choose the color. Let's just leave it black for now, I guess. And once I've got that, maybe go a little bit bigger on the type, 14. That's good. Then I want to get the move tool and move it into place. I'm going to put it somewhere in my image where people are going to see it, where it's going to stick out. Maybe there. Now, notice my type is on its new layer right there. So once I get in position, and if I want to permanently tie these two together, the Sunday text with the photo layer that it's on, I can tie those together. Now first I want to make one adjustment to the photo before I do that. And I want to change the opacity of this photo. I'm going to reduce the opacity down to maybe like 40% or so, because I don't want these images to compete with the numbers. Okay, that's just personal preference. So I've reduced the opacity to 40% of that layer. Now I want to tie the Sunday text layer to this. So I want to shift and click so that I have actually both layers highlighted. Then I'm going to right click on one of them, and I'm going to get this mini list come up, and I want to find what's called link layers. So I'm going to say link layers, and now you notice there's a chain link. So now both of these layers will actually move as one together, and so they're kind of stuck together. See, I can reposition this, and they're always going to be stuck to one another. Now, if I ever want to reverse that, I just right-click and say unlink the layers. Okay? So it's not a hard thing to do. So that's what I'm going to do for all of my images that are going to represent the days of the week. I'm going to bring in an image for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then I'm going to reduce the opacity to all those down to 40%, and then I'm going to physically put in the text for each day, so on and so forth. Now, what if you wanted to add the numbers for your day? Let's say your shots don't include the number themselves. Well, same way we're going to do it is we're going to create a new type layer, and we would just type in the number, in this case 4. Okay, get the move tool and move that into position. Okay, so there's my text number. So if I didn't have the numbers in my photo, I would put it in by text like that. Now, what if I want to change the day of the month down here? Okay, I want to edit that. Click on that layer. So I need to click on that layer. And then I need to get my type tool. And I need to come in here. And it's going to give you a error message that says basically Photoshop doesn't have this particular font anymore. And when you say OK, it's going to update it to some random font. That's all right. Anyway, double click on it to highlight it, and then bring up your characters palette again, and you can change the font to anything you want. You can also change the size of it, so on and so forth. You can squish it in to make it fit on the page, like so. And when you get it the way you want it, you can change the color. Right up here, you can change the color. Maybe we want to make it Liberty Red instead. Like that. And if you want to reposition it, grab the move tool, and as long as you're on that layer, you can move it around. Now I want to show you two other things to sort of spice up your calendar, because you may not want this white background. What if we could change the color of the background? Okay, let me show you how to do that. You got to be on that layer, so we're going to click on the background, and we're going to go up to the word Edit and say Fill. What do we want to fill it with? We're going to fill it with a particular color. Okay, we're going to choose this color. Now I have pre-programmed in the red, green, and blue numbers for Liberty's blue, and I'm going to change the color, background color, to this blue. So when I click OK, and I click OK again, there's my blue background. So I've got red letters on a blue background. There's my photo. Now that's one way you could spice up the background. Here is another way. So let me get rid of this. The other way is to actually use a photo in the background. So you got to go back to your images folder and find a suitable background picture, and then drag it into your calendar template. And then you want to make it big enough, Command T, to cover the entire calendar. Like that, maybe. And hit Enter Return. And then, so this picture doesn't compete with all the rest of your pictures that are going to be on top of it. You could change the opacity of this and make it really, really light. Now remember, you're only going to see a very small amount of this picture, basically between the lines, because all the rest of your photos are going to take up these, okay? But that's another option. You can use the faded picture as a background. Now, you want to fill up every single square on the grid, no matter what. Now, let's say my last image of my calendar ends, maybe right here. It means I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 left. Fill those up with filler images. Your filler images can be just images that are related to your theme, okay? This picture here of Jerry's Jokers, that would be one of my filler images. So bring that in, resize it, put it into place. So basically I want every grid on your calendar filled up, okay? Now you could, if you have the right layout or whatever, right shape picture, you could actually, make a picture span 2 boxes. That's fine, okay? But fill up any remaining boxes. It could be up here before your number 1 image starts, and it could be after your last day of the month starts as well. So you could have 6, 8, 10 pictures where you need fillers. to fill up the entire grid. Okay. Now, last but not least, let me show you my finished calendar for this project. Here it is. Just to zoom in a little bit closer. There's my images for the days of the week. I ended up changing my font colors to red. Kept these at 40% so they don't compete with my other images. This calendar is for the year in the future, September 2019. And I looked and researched, and it does start on a Sunday. So my number 1 image starts on Sunday. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And September has 30 images. So there's my last day of the week image, day of the month image. And then I have a couple filler images to finish out the grid. That's my finished calendar. I think it looks pretty nice. Okay, so I'm looking forward to seeing your calendar. I hope this tutorial helped you, and good luck creating your calendar. And now, just a word, once you get everything complete on this calendar, go up here and save it as, okay, and save it as a Photoshop document. Okay, remember, Photoshop documents are going to preserve your layers. You've done all this work and every single thing is on a different layer, okay? You want to preserve that. So save a copy on your computer as a Photoshop document, and then go back and save another version, and this time save it as a JPEG, okay? The JPEG's the one you want to post to both your Shutterfly account and to Blackboard for this project. Give me the JPEG copy. All right?